So I grew up in Doss Palace in a great Christian family. We went to church every Sunday, and we had a great, stable upbringing. I graduated Doss Palace High School and went off to Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. After I graduated college, I went off to work managing a farm. I got married 2 years after that, and we started having babies soon after. At the same time, I knew I really wanted to start a business. In this process, I would love to have some drinks on the weekends. It just seemed to make everything more fun. 2011, God let us start a farming business. That same year, our first son was born, Walter. And the next 2 years, we'd have 2 more sons, Samson and Timothy. Life was challenging in this phase. 3 kids in diapers at the same time, and farming just does not always go as you plan. To cope, I went to having beer every night to ease the stress and the craziness of life. I thought it would make the moments more fun, just like before. I thought it would also make me a more patient father. I would help do the dishes and clean up stuff around the house because I knew if I didn't give much of a reason for my wife to complain, I could keep up with my not so great a habit. In the time that my wife would express her concerns, who I was becoming, we would grow somewhat frustrated with each other. We had a 4th son, and that's when I'm sure that God started to hear her prayers, and he really started to try to get my attention. My 4th son was born with a heart disease. He was immediately medi-flighted to Children's Hospital in Fresno. We were there 43 days. God was trying to get my attention. As I proceeded in all of my normal coping mechanisms, I was respectful to my wife, but I was not emotionally 100% available for her. Because after all, there's not much wisdom in a man who has at least a 12-pack in him every night. This whole time, we always went to church, and I was even in some Bible studies. But it wasn't enough. I remember one night before I blacked out, my wife asked me, "What if God was making us both go through this to get you to stop drinking and come back to him 100%? I knew deep down inside my heart that I was not living as optimal of a life that God had destined me for. But I couldn't imagine how I could ever stop drinking. It was just impossible for me. I knew God could do anything. I also knew I could not do it." One time I was camping with some friends, and I remember thinking about when Jesus returns. That hit me hard. I know for sure if it was at night that Jesus returned, I was going to be drunk. Feeling desperate, I figured I would try AA. I wanted to acknowledge the past but look forward to the future. I wanted to have hope. I knew God wanted all of me, not 90%. I started to see my wife really needed 100% of me to raise these 4 boys. My wife had 100% confidence that God could move this mountain in my life. I knew God could do all things, but I had no idea even how God could change me with the sin. By the mercy and the power of God, he did move that mountain. Then it all turned. What a blessing to experience, and then they will know I am God, scripture verse that we read over and over again in Ezekiel. On October 20th, 2018 was the last day I drank. It has, to this day, been the hardest thing that I have ever been through. We did it together, one step and one day at a time. I got right with God. He gave me a daughter. We named her Johanna, which means God is gracious. And after almost 5 years of sobriety, God has reshaped my view of him. His mercy, his grace, and his ability to always be ready for any one of you and I to come back into his arms. I can truly say that I have been on both sides of the fence in sobriety, and hands down, I'm a way better husband, I'm a way better father, and I'm a way better man that is giving Christ all of myself. And I was the one lost sheep of the 99, and I am so grateful and humbled that we serve a God who goes and searches out for the one lost sheep. To God be the glory in our trials.